We'll call this meeting order. I'll begin with roll. Senator Colchamero.
Here.
Senator Friedman. Senator Dantzler. Senator Burgess.
Here.
Senator Meekum. Senator Chen.
Here.
Senator Adams. Senator Fryer.
Here.
Senator Kenna.
Here.
Senator Martine.
Here.
Senator Zitzman.
Here by proxy.
Senator DeGose.
Here.
Senator Roberts. Senator Legitimacy. Senator Agdepa. Senator Robbins.
Here.
Ms. Matt. We'll start with the adoption of the agenda. Is there any discussion on the current agenda? Seeing none, it will be adopted without objection. Moving to adoption of the minutes from the 19th meeting. Discussion on the minutes. Seeing none, they'll be adopted without objection. All right, moving to public comment. Any members of the public wishing to speak at this time? Seeing none, we'll move to reports from officers. First to Secretary Bailey.
Is everybody just quiet today, or is
Okay. How are you?
I'm good. Good. Like rough night last night. Like, what's the deal? Okay. Them, because they're not used to being so close to the ground and working with us directly. Usually that's something else. So that's something I've had to work with as well. Okay, summer updates. Next slide. I got to speak at Eagle Summits this year. It was a really cool opportunity, and I thought that giving students a perspective on like SG, not from the president's perspective, was interesting because the past 2 years the president has done it, and Val got to the last two once she got back from Pittsburgh studying at Carnegie Mellon, So in addition to the speech, I talked about SG and different ways to be involved, as well as why we all love AU. But then afterwards, I also got to table at the involvement fair showcase thing, and we got about 200 names of students that were interested. So we forwarded them recruitment like updates when positions were posted, and we also engaged with parents at that time too. Throughout Eagle Summit, there were reps from all different AUSG orgs, programming, Senate, advocacy branch, everything. So that was fun, and got to make like promotional materials as well that we're going to use throughout the year. So Eagle Summit. I had a lot of summer meetings as well since I was on campus. Touched base with Terry Flannery, who's the VP of Communications. Also went to a university marketing committee meeting that I'll continue to go to throughout the year. They're going to talk about the survey that we all got sent about the direction that the university is going in terms of messaging. So the WOMP campaign, sad to say, but like it's looking like it's going to be a thing of the past. So that survey you guys all got over the summer, or maybe the first week of August, that's going to indicate like what our strengths are and what our weaknesses are as a university, and then that'll kind of they'll put that to the consultants and stuff, and they'll come up with something. So if you have any questions on that, you can talk to me after too. I represented students at the convocation planning meeting, so I helped discuss like logistics and stuff for the student or like the class photo that got taken, which was cool. Hopefully next year they're gonna assemble students in a more like pattern type thing. I don't know, but that was cool. Met with the president's office. Like I said, student activities, career center, talking about the jobs board. I have more updates at the end of the presentation. And then also just like all the welcome week planning is what I did over the summer too. So our general theme, at least board wise this year, is enhancing the student experience. So that's everything that we're doing kind of will go back to this idea of enhancing the student experience. We took the summer to compile all of our 4 goals together, and it all kind of came back to this one phrase. So that's reflective in our social media, and as the year moves on, we'll hopefully tie more messaging back to that phrase. Okay, communication needs. Next slide. Comms. So I've been working with my associate secretary for design, Shivani Soni. She does absolutely awesome work. She's done the WI logo, the KQ 50th logo, and then a few more projects that we're working on as well. I think something that I'm trying to work on this year, and this is reflective of, is like, so in years past, like, okay, 5 or 6 years ago, the Secretary's Cabinet used to be 20 people because each programming org didn't really have their own communication staff, and everything was kind of centralized through this cabinet. And obviously, over the years, we've moved away from that. So instead of just being completely hands-off, my team and I were now, like this year, it's more, we're gonna have like an advising type role, so they're not just doing their own thing like on their own, but like we'll be helping them out and kind of being like a partner, a strategic partner. So we can, one, be on the same page, and two, increase content. So I guess that's kind of a summary of relationship with other departments, but also more generally, our Twitter, we've been conscious to increase the output of tweets and stuff, and we've been retweeted by the university a handful of times. That's Val's Twitter and the AOSG Twitter. I think Val and I have put out more tweets on her Twitter over the past like 2 months than like all of last year combined. So that's a good thing to look out for. Instagram, we're trying to bring that back. It seems like because we have all these pictures, we should at least be using the tools that we have already to share them. And we're also looking at ways to improve interactions on Facebook more than just like sharing events and stuff. So stay tuned for that. Oh, that's not the logo. Well, work on WI's Facebook page for their new logo. That's not it, but yeah. Okay, so jobs board update. So one thing that I found out about about this job is that the jobs board requires a lot more energy and time than I thought it would, which is totally cool. But that energy and time is most of the time spent on like engaging with like community members. So like parents who are upset that their babysitting job isn't getting enough posts or whatever. So I learned that towards the beginning of the term, and also if you visited the job board site, it's very old and antiquated, and it's just as old and antiquated on the back end too. I thought, there are some things that are like in place for good reason, and there are some things that like we need to actively think like, where can we improve? And I thought that the jobs board is a place where we can significantly improve. So next slide. So over the summer, I met with the Career Center because this like community portal type thing is exactly what they're trying to help students get access to, and we're trying to help students get access to. So we together went to Quad Jobs and had a couple meetings with them. It's an online like third-party site that is literally the exact same thing as the AOSG Jobs Board, but it's newer, it's better. It's sort of like Uber in a way, where like you can rate the person who hired you, and they can rate you. And it's better for safety because they check more in depth than we do, obviously, because I'm one person. So hopefully that will cut down on the number of, fake people who sign up and spam people that I have to go back and delete. And also, this is a proven platform that's worked on multiple college campuses, and even colleges that did have a system similar to ours. It's when they did transition over, the amount of jobs and students that signed up went way through the roof. So Career Center and I, collaborated on this, and so we're going to launch Quad Jobs officially within the next few weeks. It is live already, but there hasn't been an active push online, and that's just because there's a lot of stuff going on these first few weeks. So look out for a few emails about signing up for Quad Jobs, and then eventually we're going to take back the jobs board and officially put Quad Jobs in its place. I guess I could talk more about Quad Jobs later if you guys have more questions after you check out the site. But yeah, I'm really excited about Quad Jobs. It's an awesome thing that we're doing. And it's awesome to partner with the Career Center too, because it just looks good and they're great people to work with. So looking forward, next slide. These are some projects that I'm looking forward to getting done this year. It's not all of them, but some I wanted to share. I want to do an AUSG-wide photo, so everyone from all the branches together at some point. I think that's going to be after the October elections. Obviously, headshots will be coming up then too. Also, the plaques all the awards at the end of the year banquet haven't been updated in about 5 years, so I hope to do that by the end of the year. Also, revamping programming and advocacy department websites, and then hopefully we can pump out some monthly video updates too, and continue pushing content on social media, which I think is already a strength, but if we can get that to go even more, that'd be awesome. So my senator of the week is Trevor, because Trevor's been putting on a lot of good work in the Student Activity campaign, and I think we should all give him a round of applause for the work he's putting on. So thank you, Trevor. Any questions?
Yes, there are just 2 questions. First, I just want to say you're doing a great job. Really excited to see more things you're going to be doing. First, how will you be assisting Trevor with the information campaign? Obviously, we can't campaign, but the information campaign regarding the referendum. And then second, just with Quad Jobs, I don't know if you can answer this question. I know that the service isn't in charge of students getting paid. So do you know how they're making sure that people who are they should be adequately getting paid? I don't know if you can answer that question.
Okay, yeah. So first about the student activity fee. So right now, I know we talked about this last meeting, but student government can't have a position on it as of yet. But we can, increase awareness. So and so we intend to, share this campaign and help students see what it is. So yes, we will be communicating that to students, not necessarily taking a position yet, but just making sure students are aware of what's coming up on the ballot. And we design the language so that it reflects that position, that we're not pushing for one way or another as of yet. About Quad Jobs generally, and the jobs board. So the jobs board, it's from 2013, so it's old. And if you're not familiar with the platform, employers, families will post jobs, and then students who have an account can apply, and then they go back and forth and do whatever. It's kind of like Craigslist, I guess. I don't know, just any online portal. But Quad Jobs actually goes right after what you were just saying, because right now, if I apply for a job and I go and they don't pay me, there's really no way for that to be told to us, and there's nothing we could really do about that. So that person could just keep posting jobs on the site and not paying people. I don't think that's happened, but I guess it could. But Quad Jobs would address that by because there's like a rating system. So after somebody hires you, and let's say they don't pay you, you can give them a low rating and report them to the site. And then, Quad Jobs will, get them or something. But they have like 24/7 service, and they do like a more rigorous like vetting process. So yeah, so if somebody doesn't pay you, then Quad Jobs would be better because then you can report it to somebody and get it taken care of.
But just for the referendum, are you planning to do just informational emails about this is happening and this is what will be on the ballot? I totally understand we obviously can't take a position, but just making sure people are as informed. Are you going to do some emails or social media, or just wondering?
Yes.
Yeah, great.
Both.
Other questions for the secretary? All right. Thank you. All right, moving to our next agenda item, the officer report of Director Hawk for case.
Hello, everyone. I hope you all had a good summer. Sorry I wasn't here last week. My laptop had a kernel panic, so it shut off and I couldn't report. We're here this week. Trevor, can you get the next slide? So just some quick updates, starting with what happened over the summer. So obviously we continue to handle cases, which is what we're always doing. Most of the cases were like academic integrity stuff. There was some stuff that came up where like a student had to file a complaint with the university for various issues. I also coordinated with administrators talking about training and different projects that they're working on. One of the big ones, which I think I'll go into later, is AIC reform that Dr. Thomas is working on. I also selected the senior staff, which is obviously provisional because you all have to confirm the chief advocates, 3 of which are here today. And then the last thing was logistics, transitioning. So like, Will giving me the password and stuff for email accounts and the ticket system, et cetera, because that's obviously important. And then what's happening now is I'm meeting with the administrators this week. I'm meeting with Katie Porras, Regina, and then Dr. Thomas and AIC to talk about, the various ways that we're going to be working together and to get some dates and for training, and so that they can inform the staff about what it is, how they view case and our mission. I just hired the new staff. It was a lengthy application process. Hired 12 people, and so we're gonna have the first meeting hopefully this weekend, either Saturday or Sunday. And that kind of goes hand in hand, or the first point goes hand in hand with the third one about coordinating training. So a big thing that Dr. Ah and just like the administration in general has like emphasized for me is to make sure that case is like 100% trained before it deals with cases. And so I know that it's been slow, like case hasn't really done much yet this semester, but it's like, I just want to be very cautious with the training because like I had a staffer who was hired by Will the other day come to me and I'm like, okay, so what did you do last year? And I asked them if they'd been trained and I said no. And they were there the entire year. So that's obviously a problem. Dr. Ah doesn't like that. I think it's a bad thing. People are handling sensitive information, sensitive issues, and are not properly trained or informed. So that's going to happen soon. I'm also writing up a staff manual so that once after training happens, something can be written down that staff can refer back to. Sort of like a standard operating procedures. And then NDAs, non-disclosure agreements. We're doing that at the first staff meeting. Other stuff that's happening right now is I'm handling cases, as are some people who were on staff last year who I know are trained, because people are still requesting assistance from case. The student rights cards, I'm getting an update on that when I meet with Dr. Ah, because when I spoke with her, which was multiple times over the summer, she said it would be completely done by July 1st, and I don't think that's happened, so I need to get an update on that. And then I know Val talked about this last week, but I just want to reiterate that the Know Your Rights Clinic is this Wednesday at 6 p.m. in MGC 245. So if you can attend, that'd be great. It's important not just to case, this whole issue of making sure that victims of assault know their rights, but I think it's generally a good thing for university students to know because you're in an environment where those issues come up very frequently. So if you can attend, that would be awesome. Okay, so upcoming goals. The first major thing, as I mentioned before, is academic integrity code reform. When I spoke with Dr. Thomas over the summer, she told me that not just at AU, but as a general trend across universities and higher education around the United States right now, they're reforming their AICs to make them more accessible and reasonable and understandable by students. So that is definitely going to be a thing this year. And I'm meeting with her tomorrow to discuss that. I have a lot of other ideas for reform, for example, within conduct, which I'm going to bring up when I talk to Katie this week. I know that not all of them are probably, super great ideas, but I just want to sort of gauge their opinions. And once I get their opinions, I can report back next week on that. I'm still looking for an ROTC chief advocate. So we have chief advocates right now for all the different, like 4 out of 5 of the offices, but that one we don't, just because there's no one in case who has who's been in ROTC. So I'm hesitant to put someone in that role when they don't really know what that's going to be about. So I'm going to keep searching for someone to fill that position. And worst case scenario, I guess I'll just have to coordinate with the administrators who are responsible for that and make sure that our staff is trained in that issue as well. The case launch, so as I said, it's been pretty slow right now, but once everyone's fully trained, I want to do something, probably maybe a video or something else on social media to officially launch case and say, we're fully trained and ready to go for the year. Because right now, it's mostly me and some of the chief advocates that are handling cases. And it's, we're not fully ready to go because half the staff, which is the new people, are not trained. Also staff office hours. So the mandatory thing is that each staff member has to be in the case office for at least 2 hours every week. So that in case someone walks in, they can get immediate assistance. I'm also going to work with my comms people as well as Secretary Bailey on developing a uniform communication strategy, not just one that's good for case, but that's in line with the rest of AUSG. And also I'm going to work with the Secretary on migrating the rest of Case Connect to the AUSG website and fixing some of the issues. Another thing I want to talk about is I met with Ayana the other day. She wants us to put a disclaimer on there, just making it clear that we're not a professional legal service. So that's also going to happen. Okay, so this is just an overview of the application process this year for new staff. So it started in, Val wanted us to do it, I think if I remember correctly, it was the end of June or mid-June or something. We had the online application. And then after that, we interviewed the qualified applicants, and then there was just a lot of people who applied. So I decided to add a third step, which was I gave all the best interviewees a mock scenario case and asked them, write a memo on how you handle it. And then that really helped narrow it down. So we hired 12 people, so now our staff is 20 people, which is what Val wanted it to be, capped at 20. So that turned out pretty well. Okay, so I just want to end up with some general things. So review the case offices, just so everyone knows the different departments we have now. I know we have some new senators as well. So last year, if you remember, Senate passed the case reform bill. So now we have these 5 offices: academic affairs, conduct, financial aid, RTC veterans, and Title IX. So in the future, if you have questions or concerns and you have there's a time where you can't reach me and you want to work on a Title IX project, you could reach out to Angela, who will hopefully be the Title IX chief advocate once you confirm her. And so this is just for your reference. It's basically how the case is operating now. And then this slide, okay, so I found, this is a template I found, and I just really wanted to use it because it looks really cool. It looks nice, right? Yeah, my graphic design skills are not this good. I found it online. So case reports moving forward. So you have the external, what I'm going to be reporting to Senate, which would be the top of this iceberg. Yeah, I had to figure out a way how to make this work. It took me 2 hours. I was how do I make this work in my PowerPoint? I really want to use the slide. But basically, so on the surface level, when I report to you all, obviously I'm going to go over the major things we're working on, etc. For example, how many cases we handled that week, what projects reform we're working on. But obviously my presentations and reports to the Senate are brief, right? If I went into all the details and internal work that case is doing, it would take me 3 hours to finish. So basically, I just want to let you all know that if you have questions or other things you want to talk about relevant to case, or you want to get more involved, feel free to like ask me later, because like what I report is mainly because of time constraints. It'll be like the major things we're doing and just an overview. But obviously, like on the inside of case, like all our different departments are going to be doing different things, right? We'll be handling a ton of cases. We'll be meeting with administrators. We'll be coming up with ideas for conduct and AIC, Title IX financial aid ROTC reform, etc. So if you have ideas about that, just feel free to talk to me or one of the chief advocates. Yeah, just know that a lot of work is happening behind the scenes. Yeah, I made that slide work. And yeah, thanks. Do you have any questions?
Questions for the director, Senator Robbins.
Thank you so much, Saran. We certainly miss you. Hope you're doing very well. I just have two questions. Can you speak a little bit to what the training is now, and are you satisfied with the current framework for training for case advocates? Like, do you see any room for growth, or are you satisfied with where it's at right now?
Yeah, so last year, if I remember correctly, the only mandated training was Title IX training, which Regina conducted, and that was only mandated if you were working on Title IX cases. So, I mean, and then I think for the rest of the advocates, it was like Will just gave them like a rundown of how you handle like conduct, AIC, et cetera. But this year, like, again, like I really want to stress training, so like I'm gonna have it ideally be, and this is why I'm meeting with the administrators this week, because I want it to be where the administrators come in and so like Katie Porras would come in and explain, this is the conduct process and this is case's role in that. Dr. Thomas would come in and say, this is the AIC process and this is what case does with respect to that. That has never happened before to my knowledge, so it's certainly a change, but I think it's gonna be for the better. People actually get interaction with the university administrators, because for some people last year, like the first time they ever even met some of the university administrators or saw them was when they were like walking with a student into a conference, which is problematic because you should know these people beforehand and you should understand their perspective on cases beforehand. Yeah.
Other questions? Yes, Senator Friedman.
Hi, I'm Scott. I'm new here, and I was just wondering, could I get this sent?
Sure, I think, yeah, Trevor, can you?
Yeah, I can send it out. Other questions? Seeing none, thank you. How do they contact you, Sram?
What?
I said, how do they contact you?
For cases?
Or just questions?
Oh, you mean senators?
Yeah.
Oh, they just email
Please don't talk
me.
to me.
Email, text, whatever. Yeah, any form of communication is fine.
case@ausd.org.
Thank you. Okay. All right, my reports. Okay, so one, make sure that you're doing office hours. If you didn't get the doodle poll, let me know. Sign in to the book every week. Make sure that you're logging that. Judicial board. Okay, so I'm working with President Fernandez on judicial board applications. There have been some inquiries submitted to the judicial board, and then we realized that we only have one, maybe two active members. Still trying to figure that out. So we're trying to determine what actual seats are open, because the speaker gets two, the president gets two, and then the chair is a joint appointment. So we're trying to figure out those, and that application should go live later this week. I'm meeting with Maddie, the chief of staff, tomorrow to talk about that application and what we're looking for. Especially with elections coming up and stuff like that, we're going to need people for the judicial board just in case. I think that's it for judicial board. In terms of the student activity referendum, hopefully y'all saw we had like a soft launch on Wednesday. So everything went live. We had the initial post, and trying to engage with as many people as possible now. My goal is so after watching Wednesday's launch, I stepped back and like listened to what people were saying, and also looked at like where we were lacking, and a few things that I noted was one. So we had the initial post, if you saw, and if you haven't liked the page, go like the page, please. If this even loads. Well, while that loads. So the initial post, if you saw, was like the introduction, and it was like taken from the website, like the caption to it. We had 1,600 people see it, which isn't too bad, but obviously we want more. We had, it said over 200 people had clicked on the website link, so that was good, or at least interacted with the photo. So like the initial post was pretty good, but we want to do more. And so my idea is, and after I talk about some of this stuff, I want your guys' feedback. So I want to spend like 5 minutes just getting some more insight on this. But my idea is to just probably put out a video that I'll record today, like with me talking about all the general stuff, like what we're doing, why we're doing it, things like that. That way we can share it and get more people aware of this and get more people to like the page. And then the website, and I'm still continuously updating the website as things come up, and we're developing the additional campaigns like I talked about, like what would you do, things like that, getting the clubs and the programming boards involved. I don't know why this is being slow, but so also taking the weekend to figure out marketing campaign strategies. Facebook is like a good initial tool, but I've realized that Instagram has also become a lot more popular. So I created an Instagram account and we'll start posting things there. That way people will see it all over, and then we can use Instagram also to put out videos and stories and things like that, because a lot of people are like looking at that now, and you see a lot more sponsored ads and things like that. So I'm like, if we capitalize there, that could help us. But yeah, so like this, as you can see, we had like 1,700 people reach, which is good. 301 clicks. We had only 10 shares, and thank you to those that shared it. But like, really, if everyone like anything that you see, if you could share it, that means like 50 other people are going to see it. So like, if you see this, like, and you probably saw me spam the class groups with this, but by sharing it, like, we only had 10 shares, but 1,700 people saw that. So that's like 170 people per share. And the more people that share it, the more people will see it. And then I just added today this like album of frequently asked questions. So it's listed on the website, but also like putting it here in like a photo format. It's very visual. You see it. You get the caption right over here explaining what the answer to the question is. So hopefully that will help. And I'll use these to put on the Instagram as well. I think that's it on this part, and I'm working on establishing some town hall dates. What? Oh, good, thank you. And so I'm working on town halls. Hopefully, get I know the Eagle is writing an article on this that should come out soon, and then we're working on more club engagements and press releases for this hard push. Hopefully this week. Questions for me / insight / ideas that you have, Senator Robbins?
Well, just a comment when it comes to sharing and commenting. I don't know how, I'm not a big techie when it comes to sort of things, but I know Facebook's algorithm, like it doesn't matter if you like it, it's like if you share it, and I think if you comment, it keeps it sort of fresh. So if it's better to share it and comment or whatever, just put like a little emoji with the heart eyes or whatever on the.
No, you're right. That's a good point. I mean, like when you'll see on your own Facebook timelines that you'll see, oh, so-and-so commented on this post. Like if you comment on things, then, and your friends will like see your comments to these things. So the more comments that these posts get, the more people will see it as well. So like, obviously for this initial one, like there isn't much to engage with, but I think if we start posting some other stuff that like elicit a response or engagement, I think that's good. And hopefully y'all can engage with that as well. And if other people start commenting on it, like if you start seeing like negative comments / negative feedback about this, don't like all gang up on people and go after them. Like that's not what we're here for. It's making sure that they're aware of what like of the information is, you know, like what the truth is, because there's a lot of misinformation already going around about things. So we want to make sure that people are as aware and as informed as possible.
I think it's like if Facebook sees there's activity, it reprioritizes it.
Yeah.
So it's even like, if you can imagine, when you share it, Facebook already flags that. And then even commenting saying like, you can check out the Facebook page here, or, you know, like if you have any questions, like put them here.
Yes.
Like, then it keeps reflagging it, it keeps reprioritizing it, because in some of those class pages, it just gets bombarded with all different kinds of comments and posts and things.
Very true. Other questions about what we're doing, other insight, things that you think would be a good idea, things that you've heard from people that we should be aware of, any of that? Yes.
Well, I'm in a few different student groups, and I heard mentioned by other people an awareness of this issue, which is positive. But by all people who have brought it up, there has not been a positive view of referendum
Yeah.
when they bring it up.
Yeah.
So I think that's since you asked, that's
Yeah.
something we need to comment.
Good, thank you. And I know I've recognized that, especially within clubs, which is really interesting. A lot of them are there's a lot of negative responses to that, but I would encourage that if you are involved in any other clubs, to either one, talk with your e-board about it, or have your e-board like bring me in or someone from the campaign to talk about it, because I'm more than happy to do that, because I want to get people on the same page, and I want to like show people that like, yes, this fee is going up, but it directly impacts those clubs and your club specifically. And really the selling factor is that this is the one fee that people will pay that you see a direct response to, you know? So you can pay tuition, which goes to salaries and facility management and things like that, and you don't really see that. But like with the student activity fee, you pay it and you get the program and you get the club funding, you get the student media resources, you get all of that. So I think that's the selling point. And I encourage you to ask people to either check out the website, check out that, or just contact me, and I'm more than happy to come to meetings or e-board meetings or anything like that. Yeah. Also true. Yeah. You follow up?
Yeah, if I could follow up, the other thing that I've been hearing is AOSG just wants more money for itself. And I was wondering, what is the involvement of AUCC in this effort? Because I think that if they were more at the forefront, like you are promoting this, then clubs would understand better that this is a direct benefit to the clubs.
Yeah, so I definitely have a lot of involvement from AUCC. It's like student government AUCC right now for sure. But like AUCC is engaging with clubs, and I know that they did or are going to send out a club-wide email like introducing the campaign and talking about like the necessity for the increase. And I think it's the idea of getting people to realize that this, although it's a student government referendum, it doesn't only benefit student government, and like AUCC and student media also get this money. So like getting people aware of that. And I think AUCC, and with our idea of engaging with clubs and getting their feedback and putting them in as part of the campaign, more people will see that going forward. And we're just going to try and get as much, like AUCC definitely can, I mean, you can speak for AUCC more than I can, but I know like getting possibly like writing specifically for an op-ed or something like that, or getting AUCC to like seriously like talk about, you know, what have they done with the resources that they've had, but what could they do with all this additional funding, you know, with all the clubs on campus. So, yeah.
To speak to that part of it, something that I've heard and I'm continually hearing is that like people, it's not just coming up because of the fee increase, it's just being louder with the fee increase, that I think a lot of clubs on campus don't necessarily, I'm not one of this, I'm just saying what I hear, but feel that AUCC doesn't like allocate the money to like the proper things that they should. especially just recently, I've seen all the theater orgs are really annoyed. And those are a lot of loud voices.
Yes.
And so I just think having a conversation between AUCC and people in the campaign about addressing those concerns before we even try to push this referendum on them, because they're never going to accept the referendum if they're still mad about that stuff. Right? So just a thought.
Yeah. So like definitely like that was, I saw that too when it came around on like Wednesday or Thursday. And that ties back into this whole misinformation thing. So like what I learned and what I understand is that it's not even just an AUCC thing now. It's like we have to show students and student organizations that it is a university-wide policy that these clubs can't charge admission or like extra fees from students that attend their events because students already pay the student activity fee, you know? So like we're going to work on figuring out how to decrease that perception, but also like increase the awareness that there are like, yes, you can't charge students, but there are other avenues like you can still charge faculty and administration. You can charge like concessions or merchandise, but you just can't charge an admission fee for those students. But yeah, no, I've definitely heard that, and thank you for bringing that up again. So
It also comes, I've heard sometimes from local work. So,
yeah. Other insight, input, ideas? Yes.
Also, if you look at the Amplify the Student Experience page, even if you're not like, don't own the page, you can still invite your friends to like the page.
True.
So.
Right in the drop down, right? And I can't because I'm right here. Usually they'll list friends that you want to invite. You can just like see all your friends and just invite them. And that would be greatly appreciated. Do it.
Yeah.
Other things. Okay. Again, feel free to let me know if there's any specific, like anything, like as this goes on, and if things come up that you hear, make me aware of that. That way we can address it as soon as possible. And that way we can work to minimize anything that like isn't correct or like isn't like factual. And that way we can like sort of, we want to make this as positive as possible, and like we want to get as much student feedback as possible. So okay. All right, moving to reports from committees, to the Committee on Rules and Privileges. All three confirmations are on the agenda, so they were recommended favorably. And Bill 17-18039 was also recommended favorably without any amendments. Questions for CRP? Cool. All right. Moving to new business. First is the confirmation of Sam Wolf to be a Joint Chief Advocate for Conduct.
Hey, I'm Sam. I'm a junior here, and I am hopefully going to be the joint chief advocate of conduct this semester and this year. So I knew a lot of people in case, and I like had heard about it, and it seemed really cool my freshman year. And so last year, my sophomore year, I joined in September, and for the fall semester last year, I was an advocate. I worked on a bunch of cases, and I worked with Will and Ben and some of the more senior people, and that like really gave me an understanding of what we were doing, and I really liked it. And so then in the spring semester last year, I became deputy director of case management along with being a senior advocate. So I probably worked on like 10-ish, maybe a little more cases last semester, most of which had to do with conduct. I did a few AIC cases as well. And I also, as being deputy director of case management, helped Will and some of the senior staff kind of devise the live chat system we have now, which is our like internal database for tracking cases and like what gets submitted and stuff like that. So I think case is really important, and I think that a lot of students on this campus, most students on this campus, don't really know anything about case or even like what rights they have as students, and even the ones that might know a little more, like really don't know much. And so I think we provide a really essential thing, not just in advocating for these students and giving them advice when they come to us, but like educating students in general on what rights they have. And personally, as being an advocate for conduct, I think that conduct is probably the most common type of case we get, and it's something that a lot of freshmen might deal with, like when they first come here. And I think that it's important that we provide a free and confidential service for them, because students might be, if they get a conduct violation, might not want to tell their parents, or might not have like the means to like actually get a lawyer or anything. And we want students have enough going on, especially in your freshman year, and we want to be able to do whatever we can, and be someone that people can come to and people can trust. And I feel confident that I have the experience and the demeanor to do that. So thank you.
Questions for the nominee? Seeing none, if you wouldn't mind leaving the room. Discussion on the nominee. Senator Goes.
He seems competent. He seems like he very much wants to do this job. He's very involved, and he really cares about what he wants to do. I think he would be a great nominee. And without objection, I would like to motion to approve by unanimous consent.
There's a second. Is there any objection?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I do hate to object. I do just have a question for Director Hall.
Okay, yeah.
Because I do feel like the chief advocate for conduct is really important. Saran, can you just speak a little bit to like what you saw in him, his qualifications, and what the application process was like?
Sure. So
And I'm sorry, Director, maybe in doing so, speak to it as a whole, so that way we don't have to ask this question.
yeah, sure. So as far as the application process, I didn't do applications for chief advocates because I need those people to be like personally people I trust and I rely on and who I know are capable. So that was more of me like handpicking people who I thought were best. Sort of how the president handpicks the cabinet. And so as far as like what I saw in Sam specifically, like you mentioned, he worked on conduct, but I mean like a lot of people worked on conduct, right? We had a staff of like 40 people last year. He was good though because he was always someone who was reliable. Like if I couldn't make it to a meeting, he went. I personally worked with him on several cases, both conduct and academic integrity. And he's very motivated. Like over the summer, he kept like telling me ideas about like reforming the case ticket system and like getting me on there, etc. So he definitely has the will and he has the passion for the job and the experience.
Other points of discussion? Seeing none, we'll move to vote without objection. All those in favor of confirming Mr. Wolf to be a joint chief advocate for conduct, say yay.
Yay.
All those opposed say nay. He is confirmed. All right, moving to the confirmation of Angela Chen to be the chief advocate for Title IX.
Hi guys, you guys are having a good day. I'm Angela, didn't know. But I'm just gonna talk a little bit about like how I got involved in case and like why I really want to do the position. So I got involved in case my first semester freshman year. I started off as a policy associate, like litigation associate, kind of like working with the senior advocates on cases, like shadowing them to like meetings and hearings, kind of learning the reins of how to do a case and how to work with clients. I was actually trained, so it was Title IX training. And then after that, I was able to do some of the Title IX cases with Will and kind of help him with that. Like he took most of those. Those were like the really like extensive ones. The reason why I wanted to do Title IX specifically is because what I find most rewarding about CASE is working with students and like providing them that like support and help throughout their case, like especially with Title IX. With a lot of cases, your clients are very like, what do I do now? What do I do now? What do I do now? But especially with Title IX, it's something that like students like aren't familiar with most, or just like the administrators or the offices at all at AU. So it's really helpful to be able to kind of like give them that guidance, give them the information, like make them feel better about the whole process. It's already like a very stressful time. I'm also like very open to like doing policy and advocacy work. In regards to Title IX, we do Title IX and tacos like every semester. Very open to consuming that, or if other people have other ideas about what we want to do regarding like Title IX like information and distributing that to the student body. Yeah, I mean, like, this is something that I'm very passionate about, and CASE is something that I love because I genuinely love working with students, and I think it's such a unique service that the university provides.
Questions for the nominee? Senator Robbins.
Angela, so great to see you. It's been too long. Hope all's well. You do so much. I know you work with the Dems and you work with the USG. Do you feel like you'll be able to really like dedicate the time that you want to dedicate to this? And sort of where are the areas for growth that you see in your position?
Yeah, 1000%. So I've already taken a case already this semester. So like it's something that I 1000% prioritize because it's something that, like I genuinely enjoy doing. I would never be like, oh, I don't want to take this case. Like if someone's giving me a case, I will take it. I think that the areas for growth, like especially with them being new, like the office being new, in the past we haven't had kind of this like separation of like case like a category, I guess. In the past, like you kind of just like did whatever. I think it's really important that like the advocates that I'm going to get and like the litigation associates that I get underneath like my position are like well trained. Like they have a lot of experience, because to be completely honest, like my first case I did by myself, I was like, I don't know if I'm ready. And they feel ready going into the cases. Like just like making sure that everyone on the case team, because I know in the past like there's members of the case that like don't necessarily feel like they like have done a lot. I want to make sure that everyone like at least underneath like my area feels like they're contributing to the team, like feels like they're getting cases, feels like they're working with clients. And I also feel like there's a lot of advocacy work to be done, like working with Greek Life, or like hosting more events like Title IX and Tacos, just like distribute more information about the conduct code in like university offices.
Are there any other sorts of training outside of the university sanctioned Title IX that you'd be interested in doing, or that you think are important for your advocates?
I know Saram was talking about, Saram already has, I haven't. Saram has already been talking to like several campus offices about different types of training different than Title IX. So conduct will do their conduct training, academic integrity code will have their academic integrity training. So I think what it's gonna be more like hopefully this year is that like every office will have their own training, and the advocates and the associates working under them will be trained specifically in what they're doing. Yeah.
Other questions? Seeing none, if you wouldn't mind leaving the room. All right, discussion on the nominee. Senator DeGose.
I have a question for Senator Hawk, actually. Forgive me if I'm wrong, did you say you're nominating two chief advocates for each position?
No, so some of them do have the Title IX, there's just one person. But like for conduct, there's a joint chief advocate, and same with academic affairs. And the reason is just because I expect there to be, like historically, we've worked more in the departments that I'm putting two people on, like especially for AIC, as I mentioned, we're not just going to be handling cases and doing the type of reform we usually do, but there's also like the big project that Dr. Thomas mentioned. So I felt it necessary to not overburden one person, because I know that people have other things.
Yeah, that's fair. I just know that Angela does a lot of work with AU Dems. And I know she's talked to me about making sure that she can handle Title IX appropriately while doing that.
Yeah, so we've had that conversation. I've spoken to her about handling the department well. I think she is gonna have the time, because even when cases come in and you can allocate them to different people who are in the Title IX department who are trained. I know that during interviews, a lot of people said they were interested specifically in Title IX, so it looks like we're gonna have a big enough cohort so that Angela, like, in theory, can handle, like, lead a lot of the casework to other people so they can get experience, which is obviously necessary, and then she can spearhead the bigger, more important projects, which obviously that's a less frequent but still very important.
Other discussion? Are we? No? All right. We will move to vote without objection. All those in favor of confirming Ms. Chen to be the chief advocate for Title IX, say yay.
Yay.
All those opposed, say nay. Being the chair, the ayes have it, and she is confirmed. All right, moving on to our next agenda item, to the confirmation of Cassie Moore to be a joint chief advocate for academic affairs.
Hi, I'm Cassie. I'm also a junior. I'll just talk about like how I got involved with CASE a little bit. So I joined CASE beginning of my sophomore year, so about a year ago now, with the help of Ben Koshman and Will Mascaro. Ever since I've been working with CASE, I've done like a wide variety of cases. A lot of the stuff I've done is more behind the scenes. I haven't directly gone to many hearings, but I've worked a lot with Will on specifically academic cases, which is why I was nominated for this position. And why I want to like continue working with and what I tend to do, I really enjoy the academic side of it, especially because I think a lot of the time it's really hazy exactly what an academic violation is with the academic integrity code. So I want to, this year I want to work more with the administration on defining exactly what it is. And so I met with the administration about they're trying to revamp exactly what it is and make it more clear what a violation is with academic integrity code. So I want to work more directly with that. And I really enjoy everything I've done with CASE because I think it's really stressful for the students when you have an academic violation because you don't exactly know what you did. So providing that support has really been fulfilling, I think, for me, knowing how stressful a college can be. And I really have enjoyed everything I've done with CASE thus far, and I can't wait to continue that.
All right, questions for the nominee? Seeing none, if you wouldn't mind leaving the room. Discussion on the nominee. Senator Friedman.
This is just open, is there the other one already appointed because this is 2 positions, correct?
Yeah, so Director Hawk has 2 people for the chief advocate for academic affairs. The other person has not been confirmed yet. Yeah, these are the first of the confirmations. Discussion. Senator Ghost.
I mean, she looks, yes, the other nominees, of course, like she really cares about this position. She looks like she's put the effort and time in, and I think she'll be a good fit. So without objection, I move to approve by unanimous consent.
Second.
I hear a second. Is there any objection to confirming the nominee? Seeing none, she is confirmed. All right. Now, moving on to elections for the Special Committee on Finance. We have 2 open seats, and the same process is as what we did at the beginning of the session. Also, very similar process to what we did last week for chair elections. So, if there are no motions, then I will open the floor up for nominations. Senator Zitzman's proxy.
I nominate Senator Robbins.
Senator Robbins, do you accept? Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, there's a second. Good. All right. Other nominations? Senator Kenna.
I nominate Senator Martin.
Senator Martin, do you accept this nomination?
No.
Okay. Are there other nominations?
I'll nominate Don
Okay. Other nominations? Senator Burgess?
I nominate Senator Teta.
Senator Kenna's on the. Yikes. Other nominations?
Would anyone like to be on it? That isn't already on it. I'm already on it.
Seeing none.
Yeah, we could, yeah. I nominate.
Yeah, it's a special committee.
Sure.
Senator
DeGoes, do you accept the nomination?
I do.
Is there a second?
Second.
Hearing a second. Other nominations? Seeing and hearing none, the floor is now closed. If there are no motions, we will move to candidate speeches. Senator Rob, is that a motion?
No.
Okay, Senator Robbins.
I would just like to say, number one, thank you, Sir Evan and our body couldn't be here, but in touch with him. I do recognize the unique importance of what this committee will be accomplishing in the next couple of weeks with the referendum. I won't sit here and purport to tell you that I know all of the intricacies when it comes to government spending and things like that, but what I do know is one of the most important things you can do is you can go to people, and you can try to listen to them, try to understand their struggles, where they're coming from, and you can't always promise that you'll fix the sources of their anger. You can't always promise that you'll have a solution, but what you can do is you can always go and talk to them. And I think throughout a lot of different times, in particular last semester with the student media board, I reached out, especially when some of the constituents came to our special meeting and they were upset. I made sure to reach out and I spoke to them. And I couldn't offer a solution, but what I did offer was an ear. And I think what this committee will be accomplishing in terms of trying to work with Speaker Pugh to get this referendum passed is so important. And I would be honored to have a role in that. I'd be honored to try to listen, to try to build consensus, to try to just create a more equitable system for allocating money. So I hope you have questions. If you don't, that's okay.
Questions for the nominee? Hearing none. All right, Senator DeGoes.
So thank you for this surprise nomination to what I know I spoke last week. I consider one of the most important committees within student government, and I say that as chair of a different committee. The way that finance affects every single part of student government, of activities that we do on campus, of what we can provide for the student body is unquestionable in terms of its importance and the need for dedication and strong involvement in the area. And I like to believe that I've demonstrated my ability to be involved and to be an ear, and now I can use the degree I'm seeking in economics to possibly help further the cause of student government. I know that especially the upcoming referendum is going to be huge for student government and for what we're able to do for the students. I know I've already been working with Trevor on getting that to be as successful as possible. So I look forward to further serving this body that I find so important and so meaningful to the school. And if anyone has any questions, please let me know.
Questions? All right, hearing none. If the nominees wouldn't mind leaving the room. Discussion on the nominees. Yes, Senator Martin.
We got 2 openings, we got 2 candidates. I think, they're qualified, they've been around. Looks good to me.
here, we're done.
Any other discussion? All right. Oh gosh, what's the wording? I would look favorably upon choosing a different method of voting rather than secret ballot, because that's what we would refer to, but Senator Adams?
So accept with like, how'd you say that?
Unanimous consent?
Yeah.
Okay, is there a second to voting by unanimous consent? Okay. Hold the vote. We are gonna vote by unanimous consent. I guess, is there any discussion on voting by unanimous consent? Because it's a different method. Yes. Okay. Any other discussion on voting by unanimous consent? Okay, just making sure we're all okay. All right, is there any objection to confirming the two candidates for the Special Committee on Finance? Hearing no objection, they're both confirmed. Amazing. Okay. Any other new business? Seeing none, we'll move to old business to Bill 1718-039. All right. Since the sponsor is not here, all I will say is that, again, it was recommended favorably by CRP without any amendments. We'll move right into discussion because the sponsor is not here. Discussion on this bill. Senator DeGose.
Yeah, so as I said during the CRP, it is crazy to me that we never had the ability in the past to extend questioning time during speaker elections. I feel that as such an important and pivotal role in the Senate, we should have every ability that we need to make sure that we're making the right choice when voting for a speaker. So I think that this is a long overdue bill, and I hope that everyone agrees. Unless there's any objection, I move to approve by unanimous consent.
Second.
Here a second. Is there any objection to adopting this by unanimous consent? Hearing none, it is adopted. Awesome. All right. No other old business, so we move to public comment. Any members of the public wishing to speak at this time? Yeah, well, I'll save you for good of the order. Yeah. Public comment. Seeing none, we'll move to good of the order. Any executive good of the order? Yes.
Hi everyone, it's me. I'm Maddie. Okay, so I just have like an yeah, so she was unable to make to the Senate meeting today. However, she had something she was catch up on rather than like getting like a big sum of information. Just like little things to go along. Just feel like that's neat. Okay. So she checked with Ayana about home. If you guys were unaware, there was kind of like a mishap with people having to reapply for home access from 1 year to the other. And Ayana assured that students who had access last year will be able to regain access. And then the second thing is that she's going to schedule HVAC to come to Senate in October instead of having them come twice to two different bodies, just having them come once for everyone. So that'll happen. Once the new Senate.
Cool. Questions for the chief of staff? Awesome. Any other executives for the good of the order? All right, senators for the good of the order. Senator Robbins.
I just wanted to remind everyone there was an email that was sent out by Val to help with, I know they're doing some kind of voter registration thing. I think that's absolutely fantastic. I can't think of anything more AU than helping people register to vote. Truly, taking pride in it. I signed up. I sure hope everybody else does. It's very important, especially given the current political climate. Just getting more people involved in the political process is always so fantastic and wonderful. So please sign up. And outside of that, I have not been hearing a lot of things about the referendum. Outside of what is said here. So I hope we can continue to spread really good information. And good information is not just us saying why it should pass. Good information is, these are the facts. The fact is that most universities, the student activity fee is higher. The facts are that for 5 years, it really hasn't risen, and the rate of inflation has gone up. So I think making sure that those facts are front and center, let them speak for themselves. But that's all I'll say.
Other senators for the good of the order. Senator DeGose.
I guess I probably said this in committee reports, but I have been talking with both the VP of facilities and the director of dining programs for things I know I talked about last week. In terms of facilities, they are working on getting like a single localized site for all construction on campus to make it easier for people to find this website so they can understand what's going on, how long it's going on, where it's going to be impacted. And they're also looking to outreach to DC government to say, hey, what stuff is going on near campus so that we can put that on page too. And then as for the dining program, I know many of you have heard that Megabytes and their affiliates are no longer able to accept dining dollars, which seems odd for on-campus places to not be allowed to accept campus meal plan pieces. So Nancy and I are meeting this upcoming week with the director of the dining program to say, hey, what's up with this decision? It clearly caught Megabytes off guard. How can we work together and fix this, or can you explain why this decision was made? So if anyone does anything, they won't be added to that discussion.
Senator Adams.
Who?
Maybe Tanner would be interested. Obviously, he's not here now. So
Yeah, Tanner would be interested in that.
All right, I will reach out to them. But yeah, if anyone has anything they want, if they want to join, if they have any questions they want me to ask, please let me know, because I will be sitting down with her in person to figure this out.
Other senators for the good of the order. Senator Burgess.
I just want to say that I'll be resigning from the 13th Senate. As you guys know, last year took on cabinet. So I believe that in order to work to the best of my ability, I'll be transferring into that role as a full-time position for the year. I came to the Senate last year knowing that we were going to get a lot of work done, and we actually did get a lot of work done, especially in finance and budget chair. Yeah, I hope you guys have a good year.
Other senators for the good of the order. Yes.
Well, a few points. First, if the creative services on Senator DeGoe's point, I know that Daniel brought up Tanner because he's already been looking into this issue since last year, and one of the things that he said is that Aaron Mark has been pressuring the university to try to shut down these dining options that are not associated with them, but they also happen to be the most popular ones on campus. So that's something that student government should get the forefront of advocating for. So thanks for your and Nancy's work on that. Today's meeting was a little lackluster in my opinion, but we're really just confirming qualified candidates. So no fault of anybody here, but I would to remind my fellow senators that we have a few weeks left and we can continue our advocacy work, especially our oversight advocacy. And that is why the CATA, Committee on Accountability, Transparency, and something else with an A, is meeting.
Accountability. Accessibility, accountability, transparency.
Are very important things, and we're meeting on Wednesday. Hit up Committee Chair Dominic if you're interested.
Other senators for the good of the order. Okay. Yeah, so the only last thing I will say is please, like, I'm one man, like I can't run a whole damn campaign by myself, and I appreciate the support that I've already gotten. Please, like, if you can just, even if you just offer insight and your ideas and input, that's better than like just sitting around. If you just want to be there sharing stuff on Facebook, I appreciate that. Like, as long as we can continue to spread awareness and talk to people, I think that's just going to be our best method of getting like people to understand why we're doing this. And to the last thing I will say is that right now you cannot tell people whether to vote for it or against it because we're not in the campaign cycle yet. You can simply provide awareness and education about what is going on and like what this would do and how it would benefit people. You can't tell people how to vote yet until the campaign cycle begins. Just remember that. We don't want to enter any hot water for that. So yeah, so please reach out to me, get more involved. It'll look great on, you get some campaign experience. You can use it in portfolios if you need it, because that's what I'm doing. I'm learning everything as I go, and I will add it to my portfolio. But yes, if you have any other questions about anything, reach out to me. Have a good week, and I will see y'all sometime until next week. We are adjourned.